So in this video, what we're going to be doing is going over some of the most recent Fallout 76 news, of which there's actually quite a bit. The highly anticipated Wastelanders DLC update was just delayed. Outside of that, we got some new details about Wastelanders itself, and also Fallout 76 more broadly, some of the things happening right now with the game. But of course, the important topic of note is this new Wastelanders delay. Earlier today, Bethesda put out a statement saying, like others around the world, we're dealing with the critical situation that's currently affecting so many of us and our communities. For the safety of everyone, we have transitioned to remote work and are limiting our in-person interactions. And just as an aside on that, they actually mentioned a couple of weeks ago in another message how they were almost completely remote, seeming to be one of the companies to actually get ahead of the curve on this one and be remote early on. But here they continue how this has obviously changed the way we work, but rest assured that critical services for all of our live games are fully operating. However, this has affected our ability to do the final testing we need for Wastelanders, and we must move the release date a week from April 7th to April 14th. We've done everything we can to minimize the delay and can't wait for everyone to play. A special thanks to all of our private test server players for all your help. We know this is a stressful time, and we can't thank you enough for all the support you've given to each other and us. We're humbled to have such an incredible community that has stuck with us through ups and downs. It means the world to us, especially in times like this. So obviously this news was met with kind of mixed reactions. Overall, I would say people are accepting and understanding of it, and there hasn't been much in the way of complaining that Bethesda shouldn't have done this or it's inappropriate for them to do it given the current situation. But one of the curiosities that has popped up around this was, well, why just 1 week? This effectively marks the third delay for Wastelanders and the second official delay. From fall to Q1, from Q1 to the first week of Q2, to now the second week of Q2. So now the 1 week delay is making people feel like, are they really cutting it this close that they're kind of grinding at that last minute? And in turn, we'll see another buggy release from Bethesda around Fallout 76. And although that definitely is possible, I don't think this inherently means that. I think what this likely could be is a compiling issue, actually getting the final build and shippable build of Wastelanders complete. Clearly, Wastelanders from a feature perspective has been done for a while now. People have been playing in the PTS since early 2020. It's been going on for several months, and actually even just this week, there have been major additions to that. Hundreds of additional players, if not more, getting added. It doesn't seem like they're actually trying to get any new content added to it, but that additional or final level of polish. And I think it is fairly plausible that some of this work could already be done, but the issue comes with getting it all together, getting it to form that final build. And with basically all of the developers now being remote for at least a week, you can see how that could naturally cause some additional problems with that. And that's not to say that there is no reason for concern, it's just something I don't personally think has to be the explanation. As a counter argument, you definitely could say you've had all this time and that 1 week is really essential for continued bug fixing. I think most people would have hoped that a lot of that would have been done by now, considering how large of an issue it's been in the past. Either way, it honestly isn't that big of a deal. 1 week isn't that bad. And although I do understand the concerns around this 1 week delay being reflective of perhaps a deeper problem or a rushed nature of this, I think there definitely are alternate explanations, and although it may be true, I don't think it has to be true. Fortunately, this is not all we heard about Fallout 76 today, as we also got some new teases around the new events coming with Wastelanders. The first one, riding shotgun, we saw some gameplay of during the PAX East panel. We don't learn a ton new here, but just get a better overall understanding of what's happening. We are effectively going to be a security force escorting this caravan through the tunnel. And we're doing this for the traders known as the Blue Ridge Caravan Company. Throughout the tunnel, you're going to have to do a couple of things. Protect the 2 Brahmins. It'll likely be one of those events where if you keep both alive, you get the best rewards, but if one dies, you get a lower tier of rewards, or at least that's something they've done a lot of in the past. But in addition to fending off the Blood Raiders, those new just evil raiders that fight you on sight, you'll also have to actually collect supplies from throughout the tunnel and add those on to some of the Brahmin. Although, something pretty cool about that, collecting some of those lost supplies, things that apparently dropped off on some of the previous trips, is an optional objective, and that could be another one of those factors that constitutes getting a higher tier loot list, the best possible loot from that event. And overall, it seems like a cool one. Like, there is a main core objective, just taking down the enemies, but some other stuff, so if you have a big group of people, it could hopefully keep quite a bit of them busy. But separately, we hear of a totally new event coming with Wastelanders, that known as Radiation Rumble. And this one actually sounds pretty cool. It's going to take place at a disposal site where scavengers were originally trying to get some supplies. but then the scavengers found themselves trapped in with an onslaught of ghouls coming to attack them. And as we play the event, we're basically going to have to defend these scavengers. Or I guess technically we don't have to defend them, but it is mentioned that if you don't keep the scavengers alive, they can't pay you at the end, but all the while you're going to have to collect irradiated ore. Also, the more ore you collect, the better the loot pool or prizes you'll get at the end. And the whole while, this is going to be a highly irradiated area, so you'll have to have either a hazmat suit or power armor on. And all around, this one actually sounds pretty fun. It's described as being a level 50 plus focused event, and it basically seems like it's going to be a horde mode. You have a few people you have to protect and just waves of enemies coming to attack you, and while these enemies are attacking you, if you manage to get some ore, you'll get better prizes. And to me, just overall, it sounds really cool. The problem with stuff like this oftentimes on private servers is you'll just have somebody who is way too overpowered, using what is likely a duped high-tier weapon and having a really good build to go along with it, and will one-shot a lot of enemies. So hopefully Bethesda does a good job at making this suitably difficult, having maybe enough NPCs attacking you all at the same time, or maybe even just scaling depending on how many people participate, so it is a true challenge. I know a lot of people have been asking for horde mode, and this could be pretty close. And that's it. That was all the new information from this article, although something interesting about it. Is that it? Like, are those the only 2 new events coming with Wastelanders? At the start of this one, they say Wastelanders will bring 2 frenzied new events to Fallout 76. And for me, I actually like the sound and look of both of them. They seem like fun events that will be genuinely enjoyable to play. But considering how many events there are in game right now, that seems like a relatively low number if it really is just these 2. Of course, there'll be other tasks and missions. We know that even just from these allies you could establish at your camps, there'll be repeatable objectives they'll give you. Although it has become pretty interesting now as we get more and more information on Wastelanders, we're getting a better understanding of its scale. It's no longer this blank slate to be a tremendously large DLC, it still looks pretty big, but a lot of those blank boxes are starting to get filled. I'm actually going to have a video out on this, just about everything we know about the DLC thus far. And although as far as how many exact weapons or armors there are is probably kind of up in the air, or maybe a few off, I think we actually have a pretty good idea already. The size and scope of this DLC is becoming clearer and clearer with each additional tease, and really what isn't being teased. To me at least, the only big mystery that does remain will be how long is the story? How much content is there going to be in that core questing experience, and how much content will there be in some of these side quests? But as far as new and additional features, I think we have a pretty good idea as to what's on the way. The gold bullion system, some of the new events, reputation system, and changes coming with that, as well as just the overall bug fixes. If you are someone who is still playing Fallout 76, waiting out Wastelanders, there are a few things still going on in game. As I mentioned before, the PTS has been seeing basically weekly expansions at this point, so if you did apply way back when that opened up, I do highly recommend checking your email or launcher. There also have been some freebies added to the Atomic Shop. You get some of those repair or scrap kits, and it seems like each day this week, starting a couple of days ago, these have been getting added, and you can claim 1 each day. Although speaking of the Atomic Shop, I've actually seen a lot of frustration from existing players when it comes to this, and I've found this to be odd. A lot of people saying just put up some of that cool new content that was data mined on the Atomic Shop, whether it be the Communist bundle, the Responders bundle, and those corresponding power armors. And although I understand the personal desire to want to spend your atoms, I guess somewhat, some people have been accumulating them, waiting for something big, so it's not like they're actually spending money out of pocket. It would make literally no sense for Bethesda to post a bunch of items to the Atomic Shop under that new tag just before you're going to have this massive DLC launch. Wastelanders is now just 2.5 weeks away. I don't know how much larger the player base will get when that does drop, but I would say probably at least 5 to 10 times the size. And considering Bethesda tends to use that limited time strategy to entice you to buy something ASAP, it makes a lot more sense for them to just wait it out, even if some players are getting a little bit disgruntled about that. And if anything, it would actually be a really bad idea for Bethesda to post some extremely nice items now for a limited time just before the big DLC, at least from a financial perspective. Otherwise, yeah, things are weirdly quiet now with Fallout 76. For me personally, I was kind of bummed out to hear about the delay. If anything, I was almost hoping they would push it up a little bit for those who are actually stuck at home right now. but we've waited 6 or so months already. I don't think waiting one more week will really be that much of a deal breaker. Plus, there's a ton of other great games that just came out between Half-Life Alyx, Doom, and several others. I should have a Doom livestream coming in the next day or two. I want to check out some of the multiplayer aspect of that game. But otherwise, hopefully you guys found this video informative or just interesting. With all that being said, I thank you all again for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.